Hello, my lovelies. It has been another week. I've had a busy week. I've been back at work properly now, full time, 5 days. So the holiday is officially over, and it's been really cold in the UK. I think we're about to get. Well, we did actually have a bit of snow last week. It didn't settle anywhere in London that I know of, but it's getting super super cold, so it's time to kind of be breaking out the sweet and strong and more wintry scents. And having said that, you can see I started with one that's not really any of those things. But what I'll say is this week I have been even more fussy than normal. I think it's probably a hormonal thing, but I just genuinely have been like smelling things slightly differently or getting more irritated by things more quickly. And yeah, I've just been a bit of a fuss pot, even more so. And like I said, I think it's probably hormonal, but it's also possibly different times of the year that I'm trying or wearing things or comparing it to other things, all that kind of stuff. So I haven't worn a huge amount this week, but I've worn some bangers, of course. This is one, Boum, green tea and cherry blossom. I love this perfume. I wear this one a lot when I just need like an easy reach that I know is not going to be offensive in any way. I've got some white stuff. Oh, I think maybe the pink stuff's coming off of the bottle a little bit with this one. I often reach for my old signature scents when I don't know what to wear or when I'm having a bit of a fussy week, and this is one of my old signatures. I love this perfume. It's absolutely mouth-wateringly juicy, but it has that watery vibe that you get with tea. And despite tea perfumes not being described as aquatic, I do feel like most of the tea perfumes I love have this beautiful kind of watery, transparent feel to them. This one, it has notes that are absolutely recognisable. Like, I can smell all of these notes. It says top notes of tea, lemon and pear. You can definitely smell both of those. Middle notes, cherry blossom, definitely get it. Black currant, I definitely smell it. Rose, absolutely get a bit of rose in this. Base notes of peach and musk. All of those things are here. It's incredibly easy to wear. It's just so pretty, and sadly, I think it's also very much discontinued. However, I do see it occasionally, and I will let you guys know when I actually go through my backup bottles of things, because I'm going to have to do like a bit of a declutter of some of my backups, because I have backups from when I was wearing way fewer perfumes, and I've got quite a few backups of things that were almost my signatures or I thought would be my signatures, but now I have such a large collection, and obviously the longer I'm on YouTube, the bigger my collection has got. So I don't need like 3 backups of this, because these are 100ml bottles. I don't wear them so much that I'm going to run out like super quickly. And because they're not made anymore, I would quite like to share the love, because I genuinely think if you love tea perfumes and you love kind of fruity perfumes, this is so perfect, because it's not too shampooey. And that's the thing with a lot of tea perfumes, as soon as there's fruit popping up, they start to smell a bit shampooey to me. This one is not very shampooey. It definitely has a slight soapiness, but like not in a harsh shampoo way. Oh, it's so juicy. I love it. So anyway, that's Jeanne, Arthes, Boum, green tea and cherry blossom. Now, let's see. What did I go to next? Oh yeah, okay. Let me push this one over here. Such fun little kind of balls. I think they're supposed to be grenades or something. Okay. Because it's cold, I went for this one. Lolita Lempicka, Mon Premier. So I stand by what I say, that this is Lush and it's really good in cold weather. I also have to admit that it just sort of makes me want to wear the original. That's the problem. I think I've fallen so deeply in love with the way that the Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum smells, that I think wearing anything that smells like it but not quite exactly the same. Same way I felt with Lavender. Lavender is super nice. It's a really sexy perfume. It's really fun to wear. But it just made me want to wear Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum. And I genuinely, this week, wearing this one, I just wanted to wear Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum. Like, I wore it to work and I was really enjoying it, and I resprayed it and I love it. But then there was this little part of my brain going, well, you've got the pen spray now of the other one. You can probably wear that one, can't you? So I'm thinking about whether I might declutter this one and then just work through my tiny bottle of Le Parfum. And then when I finish that, maybe get a big bottle of Le Parfum, because there's something about the musk in there and just the general balance that I find so magical. And this one is a kind of slightly more youthful, slightly simpler kind of version of that. I might completely change my mind about this. I'm not putting it in my declutter now, but I just think I love the other one so much, and they're so similar. So this one is cherry, star anise and ivy in the top, and the middle notes are licorice, violet, orris and amaryllis. Base notes are praline, vanilla, tonka bean, musk and vetiver. So it pretty much has the same ingredients, you know, the same notes, but the cherry and the praline are stronger to me in this one. So, and the musk is not as strong, and the star anise and the licorice isn't as strong. So I'd say like the violet and the iris, maybe the tonka, are around about the same. But the cherry and the praline are very, very sweet and syrupy in this way, in Mon Premier. And so it's just it's the same scent, but just with a slightly different vibe. And I think it maybe just doesn't smell quite as sexy, and it definitely doesn't smell as sexy, but it doesn't smell quite as sophisticated as the Le Parfum. So there's just a little part of me that's like, I think maybe Le Parfum is just so much the one that I love that wearing anything other than that seems like it might be a bit of a wasted day, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I haven't decided about that one yet, but we'll see. I do still love it, and because it's so much easier to get and so much cheaper than Le Parfum, if you're not bothered about kind of the musky element, or if you like the idea of if you like praline, because I don't love praline as a note when it's quite strong, but if you really like fruity syrupy perfumes more than you like kind of musky, more kind of spicy perfumes, then this is a better version for you, I'd say. And it's so much cheaper. You can get it I got this for like 25 quid, I think. I mean, it's a tester, which is why it's got this weird lid. But anyway, I do still love it. I did really enjoy wearing it, but it just made me crave the other one, you know. I had on Sunday last week, we had my husband's mum and her partner over. So in-laws always sounds like a bit of a weird thing to say, like an insult, but they're lovely. But anyway, so I wore the perfume that my husband bought me for Christmas, because I think this is just so perfect for so many occasions. This is Mon Guerlain. This is the original one. This is an EDP. I've already got it was higher. I've got a visible amount gone, I think, from this perfume, because I had to respray it a lot. I really like it. It's Lush. In fact, I love it. And I love respraying it, but it is a little bit irritating that this one really doesn't last very long. I'm hoping that in warmer weather this is going to have more longevity, or it might literally just be that it needs to sit in my collection for a little bit and then it will get a bit stronger, you know. But at the moment it's not lasting very long, which is a little bit annoying because it's obviously quite expensive. But oh my god, the scent! Oh my god, the perfume itself is so lush. Oh, it's absolutely scrumptious. It makes me feel cozy. I feel like it's a perfect kind of perfume to wear for family events. So for stuff that's like cozy, but also a little bit more formal than just being around the house, you know. If you're like going on a little visit, or in fact actually like to wear it to weddings and things like that would be so perfect. It's just, I don't want to say motherly, because I don't really think this is motherly, although I feel like in a way that's the lavender in it, you know. But it's just, I think it's kind of just so cozy and beautiful, and I do think there's something slightly sexy about this. But then, you know, I like a bit of licorice, so right, let's see. Top notes: lavender and bergamot. Middle notes: iris, jasmine, sambac and rose. Base notes: Tahitian vanilla, coumarin, Australian sandalwood, licorice, benzoin and patchouli. I don't get, thankfully, too much of that jasmine sambac in this, because I really don't like the jasmine that they use in the Mon Guerlain range. So I don't get a huge amount of that. I don't get a huge amount of patchouli. I don't think this is massively rosy. I think it's very much lavender. That's the strongest thing. A bit of iris, so you get a slight soft powderiness. You get the warmth from the benzoin, but because of the lavender and iris, this is kind of, it's not super warm. It's slightly cool, maybe like a perfect middle ground. And then I feel like the vanilla and the tonka are quite equal in this one. Sandalwood's good in it too. But just a hint of licorice that makes this interesting, you know. It's just... Oh. So I don't actually think it will take me too long to get through this bottle because I'm kind of obsessed with this profile. I actually have the intense version, which is a birthday gift. So I'll do a little birthday haul for you of stuff that I was given and stuff that I bought with money and stuff I just gifted myself. But yeah, so I think when I've gone through this bottle of the original, I'll probably just buy a massive bottle of Guest Seductive Noir. That's the one. I have a little 15ml of that and I do really love it. It's a slightly simplified version of this, but to be honest, when they're dried down, they smell incredibly similar. And they last about the same amount of time, and it's just so much cheaper than getting a new bottle of this. So probably when I finish this, I'll get that. And then I'll stick with the Intense, because that one has a slightly different... It's the same scent, but it's just much more vanillic in a way, you know? It's just got a slightly different vibe to it because the vanilla's so high in that mix compared to this one. So yeah, anyway, I just love this profile. I'm obsessed, and I'm still wearing my Chill Out one. At some point I have to show you the dent that I've got in that bad boy because I've just been wearing it constantly. All right, what else have we got? Oh yeah, so one that... Now, this is one of those where, is it my hormones? Is it the time of year I'm wearing it, the cold weather? Or has my nose completely changed? Let's just see. Because I sort of have a feeling that the change in this, and it's not a change that means I don't like it, but it's just a change in how I smell it, is down to the fact that I've been wearing loads of gourmands this year, or last year I should say, and that's not something I was doing. Like when I got this one, I was very much not wearing massively sweet perfumes. I was wearing much more fresh stuff. My tastes have definitely changed to things that are kind of super comfy and sweeter. So this is Vera Wang, and this is Embrace, Lavender and Tuberose. Now, when I first got Lavender and Tuberose, I mean, it still does have a lot of elements of what I could get from it when I first got it. But when I first got it, it didn't really smell floral. I couldn't really smell the tuberose in it. Again, that might also be to do with how old this perfume is now and how much I've used of it, how much air's got into it. And it could just be cold weather is bringing out the florals, right? I don't know. I can't actually say until I wear this again in like warmer weather. But as you can see, this is one of the few perfumes I have like quite a big dent in. I really love this perfume. I do still love it. But I really got the tuberose this time. And someone had said in my comments, and I was talking, I don't know if it was possibly on one of my older videos or one of my videos like this where I was just talking about wearing it. I think she said she found it really, really soapy. And I was like, oh, that's weird because it's really gourmand to me. And it definitely is gourmand. There is a gourmand element, but it's a floral gourmand to me now. That's what it felt like when I wore it this week. So the notes are mandarin orange in the top. You definitely get a bit of that. Then you get lavender and tuberose in the mid, and then the base is vanilla and cacao. So I don't find this massively like classically vanillic. It's just very sweet. And then the lavender is obvious to me. The cacao is quite obvious in the dry down. It almost smells like there's cream or something in this, but I definitely got flowers this time. I definitely got a slightly soapy tuberose. So the one it reminds me of, and it always, like when I first went to smell the replica coffee break, I was like, oh, well, that's just Vera Wang Embrace, French Lavender and Tuberose. Like they've got a really similar profile to them. I find those two. But yeah, I definitely get more of the soapy tuberose now. And I still think it's lovely, but it definitely smells different. So I always think this has like a kind of... it smells a bit like a lavender sweetie or something, like a lavender fondant. There's something foodie about it, like if you had like a lavender fondant in a dark chocolate, that kind of vibe. But now, that, a hint of mandarin, which I always kind of got that, and then a hint of soapy tuberose. I think it's still really pretty. I really enjoyed wearing it, but I was really paying attention and being like, oh, that does actually smell different to me. It's an interesting one. So yeah, again, we'll see what happens with that when I try it next. And then I wore another one of this range because again, I do love them. And weirdly, I wonder if this one's actually become my favourite, and this was like third in line. So the listings for Vera Wang Embrace for me, and I'm sorry to say, these are kind of hard to get hold of. It's why I don't put them in my I'm not necessarily putting in my list videos anymore, for kind of good sweet perfumes or nice event perfumes or whatever, because they're quite hard to get hold of now. I don't think they make them anymore. But I got these for a real steal. These aren't the original caps because these are tester bottles. This is Periwinkle and Iris, and this was like third on my list. So at the time, I got rid of the green tea one straight away because I thought it was really sharp and screechy and I didn't like it. And then I have got a very quiet video on these, by the way, if you're actually interested or if you see them anywhere for cheap. So probably my favourite was the I always want to call it mango and melon, or like marigold and melon is what I want to call it, but it's marigold and gardenia. And I love that perfume still. That was my absolute favourite. My husband hates it, unfortunately. He thinks it smells like cucumber. So that's one that I don't necessarily wear if we're going to be hanging out too much. But I do still love it. I just sniffed it when I was getting these out because they're all stored together, and I do still love that. Then this one was my next favourite. Then this one. Then the rosebuds. I think it's like French vanilla and rosebuds or something. That one I ended up getting rid of. It just didn't... I mean, I quite liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm a bit fussy about rose. I'm very fussy about rose. And this one was so sweet that I was like, I can only wear it in like mega cold weather. That has changed. I can wear this in quite mild weather now. And I really, really love Periwinkle and Iris. This one is... It's a toss-up between this and the Victoria Minia Hedonist Iris for my favourite Iris fragrances in the world. This one has whipped cream in it and sugar, and it is sweet. But it's got that beautiful powdery iris, and depending on what time of year it is, a hella violet note, right? But it's a very creamy, almost edible violet smell. Again, like a candied flower. Oh, okay. So the notes in this delicious Periwinkle and Iris, these are bergamot and mandarin orange in the top, and again you do get a bit of that. Middle notes: iris, violet, periwinkle and jasmine. I don't really know if periwinkle genuinely has a scent or not, and if I wouldn't really know how to describe it if it does. Thankfully, again, I don't get loads of jasmine here. I get iris and violet, and they're... I don't want to use the word fighting because I think they're a really nice blend in this, but they're kind of... depending on when I wear it and depending on how cold it is, I feel like maybe in colder weather I get more violet, and in warmer weather I get more iris. But it kind of shifts, possibly also by my nose and my mood. And then the base notes: whipped cream, sugar, vanilla, and benzoin. Oh, it's beautiful. It kind of smells like the colour. There's like this pale baby blue. But there's just that creaminess, very sugary. The cream and sugar is at the top, and then for me it's violet, then iris. Oh, I love it. Okay, so that was a really fun day. Oh, I should say, because I've got a couple of violets popping up, and you'll notice, because this was a Daddy-O week for me, so it was a Lush Daddy-O and Lush Ultraviolet hair washing, toning week. So they leave me smelling so violety that, I might as well wear violet perfumes. This one, though, I decided to try out again because, I said try out again. I wore it because I'd got that Chantilly, and in my brain I was like, does it smell a bit like Chanel No.5 Le Eau? And I'm here to say, not massively, but it does have the same kind of vibe as No.5 Le Eau, because it's got a classic undertone to it. And this is one that does have just that hint of Chanel No.5, but it doesn't have the oak moss. It's not like woody. It's gentle. It's much more citrusy. So there's more citruses in this. It's kind of soapy. It's musky. It's more gentle, and it has a very noticeable kind of sweetness in the base. It's so pretty. It's like a really nice skin scent, and it is a skin scent. It doesn't really have any throw, not this time of year anyway. It'll be interesting to try this at a warmer time of year, but it smells like a low-key, casual, classy lady. It's, you know what it is? It's the same kind of perfume I'd reach for, that I would reach for if I, when I reach for still. So if you're wearing like a really nice shirt, a nice pair, I don't want to say slacks because I'm not 85, no one calls them slacks anymore, but like a nice pair of fitted but loose fitting trousers, if you see what I mean, like tailored loose fitting trousers, really nice shirts, you're keeping it kind of cash, maybe a messy bun, but like still look kind of chic with it, that kind of look. That's when I would reach for. I often reach for Still by Jennifer Lopez because I do think that is exactly that look. That is exactly that vibe. But I think that this one is as well. But this is a bit more vintage smelling and a bit more classic smelling. Really nice, slightly transparent, super pretty. And I would say that Chantilly is like a more beast mode version of this. Definitely, it's much stronger. It's got even more of a vintage vibe about it, but it does essentially dry down to be a slightly soapy, classic musky, slightly citrusy, sweet, like clean smell, I don't think they're interchangeable, but at the same time, I would say if you don't want to spend Chanel price, then maybe that could be something that might be a good choice. So that's that one. Oh yeah, and this was during my violet times as well, even though not really violety. But I still think this kind of smells a bit violety, even though it's got nothing listed in it. Like there's no notes that say violet. I just still don't entirely think this smells anything like the notes. This is Friction Night from FCUK, and this is one that I was actually going to declutter and just keep a bit, like a little bit of, but I started craving wearing it, and then I just really enjoyed wearing it, so I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep this massive bottle, even though it's a little bit lumbersome. This was a suggestion from one of my viewers, so thank you very much. I just smelt one of my other perfumes as if I'd already finished with this one. What am I even talking about? So the notes listed for this guy are top notes of pepper, amyris, bergamot, middle notes of fig, jasmine, neroli, base notes, tonka bean, musk and woodsy notes. So, I mean, I feel like amyris is probably like a kind of balsamic resinous smell. I really don't enjoy neroli very much, and I definitely don't enjoy jasmine. So I never would have bought this unless someone had suggested it to me, and I'm really glad they did because it is a really good cheapie. It's really good for cold weather because it's very sweet. I genuinely think this smells like it has a Coca-Cola note in it. I think it has a cola vibe. It smells slightly effervescent and fizzy. It's got a very creamy, tonkery, musky sweetness. Slightly herbally as well, in a way. It's almost like a kind of sexy, more grown up, evening-y version of the sort of smell you get with something like American Cream from Lush. It's almost in that vibe. And that one to me, that has compounds in it and different natural ingredients that smell like iris and violet and lavender. And that's sort of the vibe I get from this, but it's got a kind of more intense sweetness. It doesn't list vanilla, but I swear this smells a bit vanilla-y, almost a bit caramelly. The fig must be putting in the work here, and I don't know. Does this smell figgy? It doesn't have like too much of an earthiness. It's slightly spicy. It's like a warm spicy, another warm spicy, but it definitely gives me like a violet and cola vibe. I don't know, it's just really pretty. So I actually wore this one to work, and generally I quite like this smell like in the evening, and I quite like it for short bursts of time. But I wore it to work and I happily resprayed it, and it's really pretty. It was really good in the cold weather. It doesn't last like forever. It's really good on clothes. But it lasted longer on my skin than something like this one. And this was about £10. And this, I mean, let's be real, I got it on eBay, so it was like 35. But this one in stores is like 66 or something for a 30ml. So, I mean, you know, it lasted pretty well considering. So then we've got, okay, this one threw me through a loop a little bit. I don't know. For this one, I'm not sure if me struggling with it a bit is because this just does not suit colder weather. It might be. But this one smells so green to me this week. And the juice is green. It is slightly green. But this Confetti from Lush, this does actually smell quite similar to my hair after I've used Daddy-O and stuff. It does, because it's a classic Lush violet, but you can see it has got a green liquid. I just struggled with it a bit. I found it a little bit sharp and very, very green in a way that I haven't really before. Because normally this one dries down and smells very sweet to me. So it's possible that it's because I've been wearing so much sweet stuff, like super sweet stuff, that wearing a couple of not quite so sweet things didn't really prepare me for this. But I think it's actually just that I think this is going to be better for me, and I do like it more in warmer weather. And I generally don't wear this in super cold weather, but I just decided to pull it out because I hadn't worn it for ages. And the violet leaf in this was so leafy and so green this time that it was a little bit like, whoa, and very strong. This one lasts for a really long time. But I think the real intense kind of almond, like candied almond sweetness that you get in the base of Confetti didn't really come out very much on this wear. So I'm thinking this one actually might be a weather one, but again, we'll see. I'll have to try it at a different time of year. So the notes listed on Fragrantica anyway are violet leaf, rose oil, coffee, pear and sandalwood. I definitely get that kind of bitter black coffee throughout this. It starts to kind of chill out in the base once you start getting like a really tonkery, almost like I said, candied almond kind of smell in it. I get a little pear throughout the top. There's a little bit of fruitiness, but to me it's a violet perfume. It's like violet, coffee, almond. There's a little bit of rose, but I think the violet is much more dominant in here. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe I was getting more rose this time. Yeah, maybe I was getting a little bit more of the rose, more leafy and a bit more rose. And sometimes I find rose a bit headache inducing. So this one was a little bit of a struggle. I mean, I'm smelling it now. I'm like, yeah, it's totally beautiful. It's not one I'm planning to get rid of at all. I still do love it. But yeah, I think I either chose the wrong day to wear it or the wrong season. And we shall see. We'll see which way that one goes. So my last one to talk about. This is, oh wait, before I finish, what I will say, because I saw someone talking about, I've seen a few people talking about a perfume that's quite expensive. It's called Violet Shot by Olfactive Studio. It's got, here we go, here's the bottle, if you recognise this bottle. So I've seen a few people talking about it, and I just out of interest, because it's a violet perfume, went to have a look at it, and its top comparison is Confetti. So I was like, oh, I'm probably fine then. If it's in that same realm, I've already got a few really good like violet perfumes, so I'm like, whatever. But yeah, just throwing it out there that these two are compared. I mean, I'm not sure how much difference the money is now, because I think this one might actually be discontinued, which means it's probably quite expensive. Oh well. Okay, so I noticed actually at Christmas time, or just after Christmas, that there was a shop, or a few shops once I actually searched, selling Sweet Tooth by Sabrina Carpenter, a delicious fragrance. So it was 25 quid for 30ml, and I thought, I'm not actually going to blind buy it, because I had the opportunity. There's someone on eBay selling them. They are £6 for these, but they are 3ml. So I thought, and I think that was including postage. So I was like, fine, I'd rather spend 6 than 25. See if I like it. This is Sweet Tooth. So very helpfully, I love it when they do this. They've got the notes. So we've got top notes of sparkling bergamot, candied ginger, chocolate marshmallow. Mid notes of coconut milk, sheer jasmine petals, vanilla Madagascar, Dry notes. Okay, so the base notes: cashmere wood, chantilly, STTTM, sugared musks. I don't know what that chantilly thing's all about. It doesn't say that on. So Fragrantica just lists marshmallow, chocolate, candied ginger, bergamot, Madagascar vanilla, coconut milk, jasmine, and then whipped cream, sugar, and cashmere. So I wonder if like, yeah. So the chantilly. I wonder if that's just like sugared cream. I mean, because realistically, that's what chantilly is, right? It's a whipped cream with sugar in it. But I guess there's some kind of note that's been trademarked, but it doesn't say it on Fragrantica, so I can't really look into that. This one, I've asked my sister for a bottle of this, but they have sold out everywhere. I think she managed to find me one just in time, but I think it'll all be restocked. I think Superdrug are going to be getting this in soon, and it's about 25 quid for 30 ml, and then it's, what is it? I think it was about £40 for the 75 ml, and I'm quite happy with the 30 ml. Plus, I think the bottles are cool because it looks like a pink bar of chocolate. Super cool. So let me tell you about this. When I first smelt it, I was like, there's no point in me getting that because it smells exactly the same as something else I have. But, and then when I was comparing the two, I realised this smells like a nicer version of something I already have, or at least one that's slightly more palatable to me personally. And that is that it smells almost exactly the same. It literally smells like a dupe of this Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere by Philosophy. So if you remember, I got this one. I'm like, I quite like wearing this one. There's something about it I enjoyed, but it does have like a biscuity smell in it that I'm not keen on. So it was like, Fresh Cream is my favourite from the range. Fresh Cream Soft Suede was my second favourite. And then I love the Fresh Cream and Mint body spray I've got, and the Fresh Cream and Honey body spray I've got. And then this was like my least favourite, but I did also quite like it. But there's something biscuity in it, like in almost like a gourmand way, like the smell of like cookies and stuff. The kind of smell I get in the Sol de Janeiro body sprays, you know, the nutty ones. They smell like biscuits to me. So I tried this one, and I'll just give you the notes because they've got very similar notes. It's just this has got a much simplified version. So this one is vanilla, cashmere wood, musk, sandalwood, and coconut. And to be honest, this one doesn't smell like it's got loads more notes. It smells like a creamy vanilla, which is obviously because that's a Fresh Cream perfume. It doesn't list cream, but it is part of the Fresh Cream range. So you have to assume there's something creamy in there. And then it's got the coconutty vibe, which I think, again, just gives it a kind of creamy, almost, you know, like a tin of really good quality coconut milk is almost fluffy. Like it's like light. Almost feels like it's slightly whipped, you know. It's that kind of feeling in both of them. But it's mainly vanilla and cashmere wood. That is the main vibe. And that's the main vibe I get with this. But with this one, instead of that biscuity smell, I get a slightly gingery and chocolatey smell. Well, I think the ginger at first, really. So I've got it's very, very similar, but it doesn't have the biscuit smell. And then in Sweet Tooth, I get the dry down with just a sprinkling of that chocolate, just a tiny bit of chocolate. Whereas the dry down of the Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere, it retains this slightly, you know, like that tar smell I don't like, except it's not that. It's almost like just the wood smell from that, kind of a slightly dark and slightly burnt wood smell. So it retains that. It's got that kind of feel in it. Not smoky isn't quite the right word, but there's just a slight cashmere wood plus a weird sandalwood going on in there. And I do really like it still. Like I would never get rid of that if I hadn't smelt this, but this one I like better. And they're about the same strength to me. They're both quite light. Neither of them were particularly noticeable or very strong. I wore this one to work and I wore a full mil. If you can see, I wore a decent chunk. This is a 3 ml sample. But this one lasts a bit longer than the Philosophy one. It doesn't last a huge amount longer, but it noticeably, I could still smell it on my skin when the Philosophy one had gone. So I was like, right, I'm going to get this one. I'm going to pass on the other one because I'm assuming there might be someone who really wants or loves the warm cashmere and I don't absolutely love it. So I might as well pass that one on if my sister's managed to get me one of these. And obviously to you guys, I just want to say, if you have been craving trying Philosophy Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere, just get Sweet Tooth by Sabrina Carpenter because it is almost exactly the same scent. And when I had a look at her second release, which is like, it's like in a browner bottle, like a caramel coloured bottle, I think it's got caramel in it, people are comparing that one to Philosophy Fresh Cream Soft Suede, I think, and comparing it to this. So I would say, like, yeah, this one is, I would not be surprised if Sabrina Carpenter has been wearing Philosophy Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere and therefore has made her own perfume that smells almost identical to it. Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes you get more celebrity stuff that comes out, like with things like Cloud. And it's like, well, maybe that's because Ariana was wearing Baccarat Rouge or she loved Baccarat Rouge and she's just basically created her own version that's just a tiny bit more wearable, you know? Maybe that's what it is. But, I mean, I don't actually know who Sabrina Carpenter is because I feel like maybe she's not famous in the UK. Or maybe I'm just too old to know who she is. She's a very beautiful blonde lady, but I like this perfume. I think it's nice and I would totally recommend it. Totally, definitely recommend it if you've been really watching me or anyone else on YouTube who keeps talking about the warm cashmere, because honestly, wait until this comes back out in the UK and then just get this. Like I said, I think you can put yourself on a mailing list for Superdrug for when it's coming to them. And I assume the places that have sold out will just get it back in. If you want the 75ml bottle, the last time I had a look, they still had it on. I think it's Beauty Store or Beauty Scent, but just Google it. That was the only place I saw it, and they've only got the bigger bottle, and I think it's $39.99 or something like that. But yeah, I think it's really pretty. It's incredibly sweet. But it's a creamy vanilla, a creamy woody vanilla, I think, is with a slight fluffiness to it, is how I'd describe this. I don't think it smells like super mega interesting. I don't necessarily get all of the notes that are listed in this very strongly, but it's sweet, it's cozy, it's pretty, the bottle's really cute, and it's really affordable. So there you go. Tell me what you've been wearing this week. Tell me what you've been getting up to. Is everyone back at work? How's everyone feeling? I think we're going to get incredibly cold weather coming up. It's got so dark in my room since I started this. It's like barely daylight anymore. So hopefully it might have just changed in my video the whole way through. It might have just been getting darker and darker and darker. But yeah, let me know what you've been wearing. Let me know if you have any of these. Let me know if you've smelt Sweet Tooth. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.